Starting us off, number 10 is the floating shadow. Now this image was taken in 2008, so I don't think it's on Google Street View anymore because they update it every few years, but this one was taken on 29th Street in San Francisco. And it's literally just a normal street, houses on both sides, but in the sky, in the middle of the clouds, there's a huge black shape that looks like a floating guitar case. And I get when something gets caught on the Google camera itself and that shows up on the image, but the shape is massive. It's not a tiny blot on the camera, it's a gigantic black entity in the sky, and I don't get why other people haven't drawn attention to this. Some people were saying it's some type of UFO aircraft, others are saying it's Photoshop, which you can't even do. You can't Photoshop Google Street View, so I genuinely don't know what it is. Some people even suggested it could be a projection, but projections in the sky rarely ever turn out as opaque as this floating thing, so I highly doubt that hypothesis either. Either way, if you guys have any ideas, do let me know. Otherwise, thank you aliens for not abducting us while you clearly had the chance.
Number 9. Stolen bicycle. In 2008, a man was riding his bicycle through Holland when he was approached by two men who stole his phone, money, and his bicycle. Due to the lack of any leads in the case, the police were unable to help him with recovering his stolen things, until 6 months later. He was looking through Google Street View at the exact place where the event had taken place, and he couldn't believe what he was seeing. The Street View car had passed by and taken a photo mere seconds before the crime happened. The view shows the man on his bicycle and the two men right behind him preparing their attack. Thanks to this, he was able to take the evidence to the police, who easily recognized the two men as brothers who were well known by the justice system and had committed crimes before. Number 8. The dock. You may recognize this image as it went viral on social media when it was discovered and posted to the website Reddit. It shows a dock in Holland which appears to have a blood trail that leads to somebody's body. The user posted it saying that someone had been killed by their house, and this was photographic evidence of it. People were in a panic trying to solve the mystery and figure out who the person was and how this event had come to pass. Fortunately, however, some other people took the time to look further into the image and really look at the details of what was going on. It was revealed that the two figures at the end of the dock were not a criminal and a body, but instead just a man and his dog. What many thought was a blood trail was actually just the result of the dog having gone for a swim in the water and then trailing the moisture down the dock as he walked, the color just being the color of the wood when it gets wet. Number 7. Stolen car. Now for another case of the Google Street View car being in the right place at the right time. A man named David had his car stolen right out of his driveway, and he probably felt like the unluckiest guy on earth because he had just bought this new car after his first one had been destroyed by a joyrider. But in actuality, he was pretty lucky. His son decided to look up their home on Google Street View, something I'm sure we all did at some point when we were younger, and when he looked at the driveway, he realized that the Google car had actually managed to catch the thief in the act of stealing the van, with a full view of his face and what he was doing. The police believed that the camera had managed to catch the man just moments before he drove off. After convincing Google to unblur the license plate so they could confirm the evidence, they were able to make an arrest on the crime 2 years after it had taken place. Number 6. Swiss farm. When you think of Switzerland, you probably imagine snowy mountains and alpine skiing resorts, and you probably don't picture people running around on beautiful green farms. But they are there, and one particular one was growing a lot of corn when they were found out for growing something else. I don't think I can say exactly what they were growing, but I think you get what I'm expressing here. Anyways, they were hiding this other farm behind rows and rows of corn to keep it hidden from view. Unfortunately, they probably hadn't considered Google Earth managing to snap a picture of it from above, revealing to the police their illegal side hustle. The discovery led to the arrest of 16 different farmers and the confiscation of over a ton of grass. The police admitted that they hadn't actually been searching for what they found and called it a chance discovery. Number 5. Robbery. In 2011, a woman had her home broken into in Oklahoma City. The robbers had weapons and prevented her from interfering while they ransacked the home, the whole event taking place in broad daylight. She said that the whole thing lasted for over an hour and she was devastated and terrified. More so when the police told her that there was no forensic evidence or other leads that they could follow up on to identify the criminals and bring them to justice. So if it all took place inside the home, how did Google Earth manage to catch what was was going on. Well, 3 years later in 2014, a friend was looking at the home on Google Street View when she saw a picture of two men walking down the street just outside the home. The men matched the description that the woman had given of the robbers, and with this evidence, the police were able to launch an appeal to get the case reopened and subsequently solved. Number 4. Tax dodging. During the 2000s, an Italian businessman attempted to carry out a tax evasion scheme, and he would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you meddling kids. The finance police discovered that the man had sold a villa in 2002, which was noted as having a specifically phallic-shaped pool. With this clue, they took to Google Earth to find the property and were quickly able to. It became clear when they saw the aerial view that the property was clearly worth much more, especially when compared to similar properties in the area. This then led to them checking into all of the man's dealings, including his bank account checks. These checks revealed various different omissions, which totaled to around 7 million euros of dodged taxes. I picked this one specifically because I think it's incredibly topical, with Shakira's hips recently being found out for lying about paying taxes as well. Number 3. 9 years. William wasn't the only case to be solved thanks to overhead imagery of a submerged car in a lake. In 2006, a 72-year-old man named David Niles walked out of his favorite bar in Michigan and was never seen again. A decade passed and no one had any clue where he went, his family eventually giving up any hopes of finding him. Almost 10 years later, a man was decorating his Christmas tree when he thought he saw something deep in the lake across the road. He took a look on Google Earth and it revealed the distinct shape of a car in the water, very similar to the image that revealed William's whereabouts. Cops were able to pull the car out and the remains of David were found inside, identified by his wallet. His son-in-law said, "For us today, it's a closure of a long search. Why God waited 9 years, I have no idea, but we're happy. It's good to have him home." Number 2. Blood Lake. In 2007, people who spent their time looking around on Google Earth discovered something that they felt was pretty startling. It's a lake in Iraq that is estimated to be 500 feet wide and around a half a mile long, and it's bright red. People immediately started speculating that this is from some sort of terrible crime, and it's a lake that has managed to be stained red by blood. Others suggesting that the color came about due to a butchery using it as a dumping ground. Innocent theories were that of a specific type of algae or pollution and chemicals changing the color of the water. Unfortunately, we will never actually know what caused the color, as if you look at the lake now, it's back to normal. I know this doesn't really count as a solved mystery, but maybe you know why it was red and you can let me know in the comments and you can be the one who solved it. Number 1. Secret swimming pools. While the majority of things on my list today have been individual crimes or reports, let me tell you about something that was discovered that was much more widespread. You may not know this, but in Athens, Greece, you need a special permit to be allowed to build a swimming pool on your land. And who the heck wants to pay for that? Reports show that there were only 324 pools in Athens, which investigators thought was just way too low a number. So financial crime investigators took to Google Earth to try and figure out the truth about what was going on. Within a few months, they had used the application to discover over 16,000 hidden and undeclared swimming pools on people's properties. The Greek government was cracking down on fraud at the time, and by tracking down the homeowners and collecting that pool tax, they were able to make a lot of cash. So if you're planning on hiding a swimming pool in Greece anytime soon, maybe consider a camouflage cover.
Starting off this list at number 10 with this image. At first glance, it looks like the outside of a typical cafe. But then when you look closely, you can see this man with his llama. What the heck? Oh, is this a llama right now? Is this real life right now? Where did this come from? I don't want this. Alright, is that his pet or something? Either way, I'm really confused, and I'm curious to know why he's not on like a farm. This llama is probably like slurping on some cappuccino or something.
Coming in at number 9 is the plane. So this image was taken at Holly Hill Road in Hillsboro, Oregon, and it's just acres and acres of greenery, and in the middle of it is a 727 jetliner. The scene honestly looks like a plane crash that no one ever found, despite the plane being fully intact, and looking at it I was like, damn, someone should really check check this out. What if there are remains? I mean, I don't know. But I did some more digging and it's actually not a crashed plane at all. Plot twist! Don't we just love a cheeky plot twist? So since 1999, a man called Bruce Campbell has been transforming this plane into his dream home. The bottom of the plane is fully plexiglass and the nose of it is sort of sitting on a pile of pallets, which doesn't seem very sturdy, but if the man got the plane into the middle of nowhere, I trust his methods and that this pile of pallets will really uphold the plane. He went on to say he knows his home is a huge toy, but it's also bug-proof, fireproof, able to stand extreme temperatures, so basically it's all good for an apocalypse should one happen soon. And if it does, Bruce, can I join you in that plane? At number 8 we have the pigeon people. So this image was taken at the Tamagawa Aqueduct Greenway in Tokyo, and this one just perplexed me. The image is basically a walkway with a bunch of people walking, obviously, but in this angle there are 8 people in normal everyday outfits all standing there with their hands by their sides wearing massive pigeon head masks. They're not really masks since they cover the face and the neck and everything, but either way, I have questions. I have many questions. I even looked around the street to see maybe if it was some kind of dress up party or some festival of some kind, but no, the other people on the street are definitely not wearing pigeon heads, so I have about as much information as you do. 0. But the image, I'm sorry. Filling our number 7 slot is the pool party. So this image was taken in Harcourt, Ontario, and it's in the middle of a field. You can see the farm and the silos in the background, so as you can imagine, it's pretty much in the middle of nowhere. But bang in the middle of this image is a pool party. There's a poolside chair, a hot tub, and 4 people looking like they're having a mint time. Except they're not people, they're all mannequins. One's lying on the chair, 2 are in the hot tub, and 1 is standing holding something, and I can't really tell if it's like a fake fish. I honestly have no idea what it is. There's even a fake sun behind them. I mean, someone actually cut out a sun and stuck it on the pole behind them, because let's face it, day or night, they're gonna be there. The mannequins, they can't move, so at least it'll always be sunny for their party. I don't know why someone would make this, but I mean, I'm not gonna judge. I mean, maybe I'll judge a little, I'm sorry. Now at number 6 is the Bear Man. So this one was taken outside a cabin on Fish Lakes Creek in Alaska. Now the image is of a patio area of this cabin, and sitting around an empty fire pit is a man dressed in a full bear suit. Face and all, it's not just a onesie, it's everything. He's not with anyone, because if he was and they were also dressed up as animals, this whole thing would be a lot less creepy, but sadly he's sitting alone. And what makes this image and the real cherry on top is the fact the dude is also cradling a gun. Now at first I really had no idea what he was carrying. I was like, is that a black fish? Is it a device of some kind? But after zooming in as much as I possibly could, I concluded that it is in fact a gun. Now again, why was this man standing there in a bear suit? Why is he holding a gun? And I can suspend my disbelief enough and be like, maybe he was holding a hunting rifle and he was going hunting in the area, but it was more of like a medium-sized gun, kind of like a really mini MK47. There's my COD knowledge coming in handy, ha ha ha. Coming in at number 5 is the dog. Now this image was taken in Buenos Aires, and it's basically a parking lot in what looks like a bit of a rundown area of town. Now but the weird part about the image is the stuffed dog that is hanging off of a leash from the telephone wire. Now before you think I'm talking taxidermy, no, don't worry, it's a toy. It's not a real stuffed dog, because that would be horrendous, but a stuffed dog toy is still very questionable. But anyway, I don't know how the person even got it up there, and forget the how, I'd like to know why even. At least if it was a busy central part of the city, I'd understand it a bit more, I guess, but it's literally a random parking lot. And I'd really like to know why the person chose this location specifically. Well, I mean, I'd like to know a lot of things, but there you go. Stuffed dog toy hanging from a telephone wire in Buenos Aires. There's a sentence I never thought I'd say. At number 4 is the woman. So this one was taken on 2nd Street in Roswell, New Mexico, and it's basically a road surrounded by desert on both sides. That's it, that's all it is. There's nothing around this place for ages, yet the image Google Street View captured is a woman in a dress and long boots walking with a piece of luggage. There was like one car in the distance of the shot that I could see, but it seemed to be going away from her, not towards her. And even then, I mean, how long had she been walking for? Was she wearing sunscreen? Where was she going? I feel like if I had to make up a backstory for this image, it would be that she was on the way to a trip with her partner of some kind. They must have had a bad fight, broken up, and she was like, screw this, I'm out of here, I'll walk home if I have to, and that's exactly what she did. So power to you, random woman. Filling our number 3 slot is Rudolph. So this image was taken on a road in northern Norway, and it's actually quite a scenic image. A rocky cliff sort of terrain on the right of the road, and on the left it's surrounded by a huge body of water and some mountains in the background. Postcard material. But on the road itself you see a running reindeer. Like, that thing looks like it's galloping for its life. It had a tiff with Santa's other reindeer crew and was like, I'm out. Peace. It's actually quite a cute creature. I hope it turned out okay and that it got to wherever it was hell-bent on going without getting hit by a car or anything like that. Even though I feel like if a car did hit it, it would probably do more damage to the car than to the reindeer itself, but we at Top 10 stand in solidarity with Rudolph's getaway mission. You go girl. Or guy. Or they. Now at number 2 are the neighbors. So this image was taken at a bus stop in Nagoro, Japan. Now it looks like quite a normal town. There are 2 people sitting at the bus stop and 10 others sitting in this sort of shed right next to it. And that scene is like mundane, it's very normal, it would have been fine except for the fact that people are not people, they are ragdolls. If I was exploring Japan and I came upon this scene, I would be like, people are dressed up as these ragdolls and I'm about to get murdered by them. But in reality, an artist called Tsukimi Ayano actually created these ragdolls along with hundreds of others to be stand-ins for her previous neighbors who either moved away from the village or died or what have you. Imagine everyone dying or moving away and you being the only living human in this town of ragdolls. A life I'd rather not live, honestly. And finally, at number 1 is the dead body. Now if we're talking about weird things seen on Google Maps, I feel like this image everyone has seen. It was taken in the city of Almere in eastern Amsterdam, and it shows a long pier with an octagonal platoon at the end of it and a body of water all around it. Now I saw this image years ago and freaked out because the pier looks like it's showing a murder cover-up, and I kid you not. There's a long train of blood leading up to the pier, and on the pier itself there's even more blood and what appears to be someone dragging a dead body. But this has been dispelled, guys. It's not the new CSI story because the real story is actually a lot cuter than you'd think. The trail of blood is actually a trail of water, and the figures on the pier are 2 people bending over their wet dog who is lying on the pier. The trail of water is from the dog, the bloody smears are just more wet dog marks, and the dead body is in fact just a dog. Gotta love it.
Number 10. Crashed car. 20 years ago, a man named William went missing in the state of Florida after visiting a nightclub, with seemingly no trace left behind and no way to find where he went. But 2 decades later, someone was on Google Maps when they noticed something strange in a pond. The man was surveying for bus routes for his work when he saw what appeared to be a submerged car near the edge of the water. He called his ex-girlfriend to take a look and see if there was a car in the pond, but she couldn't see anything due to the murky water, so she contacted her neighbor. The neighbor flew his drone over the water and confirmed there was a car, contacting the authorities. They were able to remove the vehicle and did find human remains inside, later identifying them as the body of William. He had apparently lost control of his car, but due to no one living in the area at the time, it went unnoticed for 2 decades, the dirty water keeping his car hidden for years.
Alright, next up, number 9, we have this image taken in South America, and it's a police officer with a suspect in the back of a police pickup truck. Is this how they arrest people down in South America? I'm sure this man is being detained, can sue the police for brutality. I mean, this doesn't even seem like he was treated with any form of human decency at all. Alright, number 8, we have this baby who appears to be lost and missing. I'm sure this baby doesn't have enough money to shop at Gucci, so what is it doing there alone? His parents must be so careless and thoughtless to let their baby out of their sight. Who knows what could have happened to this baby? We live in a world of like sickness these days. What if someone abducted this poor little guy or hurt him? Now that wouldn't be good. Well, let's move on to number 7 with this photograph. Does this woman stand there all day in this pose working the streets? Oh wait, never mind. This is a chair in the shade when these 2 girls must have switched stations when they got tired. Can you imagine driving one of those Google Map cars? The thing that these drivers see on a daily basis is it's just, you gotta question life. You just gotta question things. But you know what? They must have so many interesting stories. Oh, remember that time when I saw... Our next creepy image brings us to number 6. This is creepy because they look like they've been driving all through the desert searching for the Google Maps truck so they could just do this. I mean, look at this woman right here. She's so proud, smiling and waving at the camera, and then you have this man who appears to be drinking beer while he's doing this. This is just so awkward on so many different levels. Alright, now making our way into number 5, we have a lovely horse enjoying a banana? I don't know what compels people to buy these creepy horse masks, but it needs to stop right now. He even took things further by setting up a fancy table with a floral tablecloth and pink flamingos in the background. This is one of the fanciest and high maintenance horse ever. Coming into number 4 spot with this image that was captured by Google in Detroit. Their faces are blurred in order to protect their identities because I'm assuming they're underage. But if you look closely, you can see one of them is holding a gun. I guess whatever they're doing in that house, they either need someone to keep watch or they don't want Google Maps to take any more pictures. I wouldn't want to be this neighbor. And things get even more strange at number 3. We have your average, typical, everyday man jumping out of a trunk naked. But seriously, what is going on here? Is he a hostage who is trying to escape from people who captured him? Is this from a movie? I think this is real. I honestly think this is real. It could be real. Okay, maybe I'm doubting myself now. And then there's a dog laying on the ground without a care in the world. Now at number 2, we have this old man enjoying himself. So this poor old man thought he was in the privacy of his own backyard, but wow, was he ever wrong. Google Maps does not care about your privacy, clearly. I don't want to go in too much detail because this is such a weird and awkward picture. I actually would be surprised if he was on a corner lot with no fencing and he just wanted this to become public. Maybe his intentions, maybe it wasn't. But finally at number 1, we have this very creepy image. I really hope this is fake or those are only toy guns because a lot of people have actually died while playing around with these real guns, and these kids look like they're under the age of like 5 years old. They wouldn't even know what a gun is. I wouldn't want this to end in a bad situation. They should be playing with other kids with friendlier toys instead of these highly dangerous and unsafe weapons that can clearly kill people and even accidentally